Honorable members, we have requested that we start at 2:15 to deal with the issue of the program. As you are aware that our third-term program is very short, but I think it was important that we meet before we can start with the main business of the day to adopt this program.
Recording in progress.
But before that, let me once again welcome everyone in the platform and say in today's meeting that there are two important things which we deal with. Despite the NCACC report, is the Defence Industry Lekgotla, a report which we will deal with it at the last minute. I mean, at the last part of the program. But for now, I'm going to request that we deal with the program. We adopt the program. But before that, let me hand over to our secretary to tell us who's not here and who's here. And Andiba, can you just give us the apologies, please?
Good morning, Chair. In terms of the apologies for members, there are no apology for members, Chair. And then for the ministers, should I table them now, or when we start the meeting with them, with the ministers or the officials? Should I?
Yeah, I think that one will do that when we start the meeting with them.
Okay, but for members' side, from the members'
side,
from
the members' side, yes.
There's no apologies.
Yes. So, okay, thanks, Nadiba. Honourable members, let's adopt the program on the agenda. As you can see the agenda, can you fly the agenda, Nadiba? There is an agenda on members opening and welcome, apologies, adoption of the agenda, consideration of the draft of the third term program, briefing by the NCACC, consideration of the Joint Standing Committee Defence Industry Lekgotla draft report, consideration of the outstanding minutes, and closure. So the item which we are dealing with is item number 4. Can I request the adoption of this agenda, honourable members?
Chair, I move that we adopt the agenda, but the way I understood from the messages that we received was that we're going to deal with the third term program now before the rest of the participants join us. Yes. So you probably will have to return to the agenda at that point when the formal presence of those people are there, and then just run through it. But for now, so that we can move forward, I move for the adoption of the agenda.
Thank you, Honourable. Can you have the second, members?
Chairperson, good morning.
Morning, Honourable Eric.
I second, Chairperson. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's go straight. Let's give our content advisor to deal with that item. Dr. Velen.
Good morning, Chair, and good morning to all members. Chair, can you see the screen on your side?
Yeah, it is very clear.
Okay, Chair, thank you. Again, morning to yourself, Chair, co-chairs, and to all members. Chair, members, you did receive the program for the term. As you mentioned, it is a very, very short term. And given the programs of the two houses within the short term, there's only 3 opportunities within our slot to meet. So what we proposed was today's first meeting, which is a fairly standard item that we have, being the briefing by the NCACC on its first quarter report, and that will be done today. But in addition to that, some administrative tasks like considering the draft program for the term, and then also added here in red, considering the Defence Industry Lekgotla. Then on the 14th, next week, the proposal was for an oversight visit to Operation Prosper, a joint oversight visit between this committee and the Portfolio Committee on Police. And members will recall that this stems from a recommendation from the two committees. There was that meeting we had physically at Parliament with the Minister of Police, Minister of Defence being there, briefing the committees on Operation Prosper. And one of the official resolutions that was taken during that meeting was for a joint oversight visit. So this is then scheduled for next week. It's perhaps a good point or a good time to pause and review these operations, because they've had, there were some teething problems. They've had time now to actually sort those out, and it's a good point for the committees to go and consider how things work on the ground. Then the next week, the Friday the 21st, is Provincial Week, so there's no committee meetings for us that week. Then I've added here in red, and members from the Portfolio Committee will remember this from the discussions on Wednesday, that there's a proposal, or it was adopted by the Portfolio Committee, and therefore we put it here as well, for a joint meeting between the Portfolio Committee, the Joint Standing Committee, and SCOA to specifically receive a briefing by National Treasury on the funding of authorized military deployments, the general historic overview, National Treasury and DoD processes, and details on Operation Prosper funding. I think members will recall that this was on the cards for last week and unfortunately couldn't take place, but here's an opportunity. It was on the Portfolio Committee's draft agenda for the, or draft program for the term, but here's an opportunity to include it. So we put it here as well for this committee to consider. And then lastly, I think a long-awaited and highlight of this term could be the 28th of August, which will be a closed meeting, which is an initial engagement on the new defence policy documents approved by Cabinet, which includes the Journey to Greatness. We put here 9 o'clock to 12 o'clock, but the suggestion is for this to be a much longer session, that it stretches up to 4 o'clock in the afternoon, or that provision at least be made for that to stretch so far. So this will be a physical meeting. Before I hand back to you, Chair, I've thought, let me just give Nandipa as an opportunity just to speak further to next week's oversight visit. If there's anything that you would want to share with members on the arrangements for that, and also around the closed meeting, if you would allow, Chair.
Yeah, yes. Nandipa, you can proceed. You can take the platform.
Thank you, Chair. For next week, I did send a message on WhatsApp, asking members, those that will be available for the one-day oversight next week, and where the members that will be leading shuttles, if they could please give a thumbs up on the WhatsApp group. I will send the program for next week sometime after the meeting today, and then for the closed meeting on the 28th, the venue that the DoD gave us is the Youngsfield, next to Wynberg, the military base in Youngsfield, which is next to Wynberg. And yes, we will be submitting the application to have that closed meeting, because we were waiting for the venue from them. So they just confirmed the venue. Then we will be submitting an application to have the closed meeting. And then, yes, we will provide details once the application has been approved by the two houses. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Nandipa. There you are, honorable members. This is the short program, and also the logistic arrangement for next week. Honorable members, can we just deal with this? Is there anyone who want to say anything about the program, or can we adopt this program, honorable members?
Chair, I propose that we adopt.
I could not. Who came first?
Chair, good morning, Chair. I propose that we adopt the program.
Thank you, Honorable Houghton. Honorable Houghton has proposed that we adopt the program. Can you have the second, honorable members?
Yes, I second. There
Again,
seems to be competition, Chair, but it's fine. Better more seconders than less.
Okay, great.
But,
Yeah, yes, but
yes.
better more, yes.
Okay, proposing adoption. Yeah.
Who seconded it?
Well, I second it, but I don't know. It's up to you to decide.
Okay.
There was another.
That's fine, honorable. That's fine, honorable members.
Yeah. Okay, but it's seconded. Thanks, Chair.
Okay, it's seconded. Let's proceed, honorable members. Thank you very much. The program is duly adopted. Yeah, that's we've got 4 minutes to go. We'll allow Secretariat to allow them our host to come in. The program is duly adopted, and thank you very much. Let's wait for 9 o'clock, then we'll start with our main with the program of the day. Thank you very much.
Chairperson. Thank you, Chair.
Yes, Honorable Gerrie.
Yeah, sorry to say this here, but I have serious connection problems here. My laptop went off now. I'm on my phone. So if I go out of the meeting, it will be intermittently. No? It's because of connection problems. I might leave earlier also due to other commitments, but I'm just informing you. Thank you.
Okay, thanks a lot, Honorable.
Honorable Bruce, good morning. Bruce Niehaus, good morning.
I don't respond to non-diplomas from the past. Good morning, Honorable Mike.
Good morning, Honorable Bruce.
Perhaps we should inform the rest of the people who must be totally surprised by these names being thrown about. Honorable members, these are the non-diplomas that the Honorable Mike, Ala, and myself had when we were members of Umkhonto weSizwe and working in the underground. I made the mistake to reveal that name to the Honorable Hala, and now I will never live it down. Thank you.
Yeah, Honorable Hala, you may take advantage of the good mood of Comrade Bruce this morning, since he is in a good space. Thank you so much.
Yeah, he is.
My political work has been going well, dear fighter Virgil. So on that basis, I'm in a good mood.
Yeah, it's a whole lot of stress off a person, huh? But wish you well. Good luck. Sharp.
And same to you.
Thank you.
Be governable, Carl. Be governable, please.
How can I be ungovernable when I'm in a good mood, Honorable Deputy Minister? I'm just saying that my political work has gone well. But it's nice to
start.
hear that you're also in a good mood.
Honorable members, let's start our meeting. We'll be meeting physically next week, and we'll able to engage on these other issues.
No, Chairperson, you must understand that Honorable Holomisa also has credentials in this meeting. Struggle credentials for that matter. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
It's a real bromance or comrade man.
Good morning. Let's start our meeting. Honorable members. Good morning, co-chair of the Joint Standing Committee. Good morning, ministers. Good morning, deputy ministers on the platform. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Honorable members, and good morning to our good morning, Secretary for Defense, and good morning to all our support staff from both Parliament and Department of Defense. You are all welcome to this meeting today. August is a Women Month in our calendar.
Where is this milk?
And we say Malibong to all the women on the platform. And and to all the women of our beautiful land. The meeting is officially open. And today's meeting, honorable members, serve two important things. The first is it was to adopt the program of our third term. We've already done that, as indicated, as outlined there in our agenda. And the second is to deal with the briefing by the NCACC. And without much, we are going to hand over to the minister to deal with the NCACC 2026 first quarter report. Minister, you are welcome. Let's deal with the presentation. Minister, the platform is yours.
Thank you, Chairperson. Today we are led by the Deputy Chairperson of the committee, so allow me to hand over to him, the Deputy Chairperson, to take us through. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. The Deputy Chair of the NCACC.
Yeah.
Let's proceed.
Chairperson and honourable members, and Chairperson and other members of the National Conventional Arms Control Committee, in particular Deputy Minister Holomisa. Thank you very, very much. The National Conventional Arms Control Committee welcomes this opportunity to present its report for the first quarter of 2026 to the Joint Standing Committee on Defence. The report covers the period from the 1st of January to the 31st of March 2026. As Deputy Chairperson of NCACC, I will present the report, assisted by Mr. Sipho Mashaba of the Directorate of Conventional Arms Control. The NCACC is established in terms of the Conventional Arms Control Act, and it's charged with the following 6 responsibilities. Firstly, implementation of a legitimate, effective, and transparent control process. Secondly, to foster national and international confidence in the control procedures. Thirdly, to provide for an inspectorate to ensure compliance with the provisions of this Act. Fourth, to provide
Deputy Minister.
Yes.
Deputy Minister, can I just make some request? I've made a mistake. We were supposed to adopt the agenda. Can you just for a minute, can you just allow the administration to fly the agenda so that it can be adopted? I was just reminded. Yes, my apology.
Okay.
Secretary, can you just fly the agenda, please? There you are, on members. We've got opening and welcome, and we've done that already. The apologies. Can we deal with the apologies, Nantiba?
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, Chair, again. Good morning to all the ministers in the platform, all members and everyone in the platform. There's an apology from the Minister of Defence. She has a bereavement, and also Deputy Minister Holomisa. Yes, Chair. That are the apologies. Thank you.
Thank you, honourable members. As you can see, we already dealt with the fourth item, which is a concern of the draft, and we are now on the briefing of the. Can we adopt? Can we move for the adoption of the agenda, please?
Yeah, I move for the adoption of the agenda. Must I say that is it a ghost that has joined us in terms of Deputy Minister Holomisa, because he's apparently apologized, but I gather that somehow he's with us.
I'm also
thank you.
I'm also seconding the agenda.
Otherwise, I propose
Thank
that
you.
we adopt the agenda.
Thank you, Honourable, and thank you, Deputy Minister, for seconding the agenda. Let's proceed. Let's go to that item number 5, Minister. Let's proceed, please. My
order,
apologies.
Order, Chairperson. Just on a point of order. Just for procedural correctness, the Deputy Minister is not a member of the committee. It should be the members of the committee that second, Chairperson. Respectfully so.
I agree.
Okay, let's then move for the adoption for the second meeting of
That
that.
is causing chaos today, Chair.
For that, for that reason, I second.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks a lot. The agenda is adopted. Let's proceed, Deputy Minister.
Okay, Chairperson, thank you. I was on the fourth point, and that is to provide for guidelines and criteria to be used when assessing applications for permits made in terms of the Act. And fifth, to ensure adherence to international treaties and agreements. Sixth, to ensure proper accountability in the trade of conventional arms. Since the presentation of its annual report to the Standing Committee on the 13th of March 2026, NCACC has held 5 meetings. The committee has tried as far as possible to keep to its schedule of meetings synchronized with cabinet meetings to ensure regular and well-attended meetings. For the period under review, 41 registrations and 5 marketing permits were issued by the Directorate and reported to the NCACC. NCACC authorized 64 contracting permits involving 27 countries valued at 17.8 billion rand. 68 permits for the export of munitions to 19 countries valued at 855 million rand. And 76 import permits involving 5 countries valued at 82 million rand. 29 permits for the export of dual-use items involving 14 countries valued at 172 million rand. I think of special significance is the value of the contracting permits authorized. For the whole of 2025, NCACC authorized 183 contracting permits involving 36 countries valued at 41.2 billion rand. For the fourth quarter of 2025, NCACC authorized 45 contracting permits involving 23 countries valued at 5.3 billion rand. For the first quarter of 2026 alone, NCACC authorized 64 contracting permits involving 27 countries valued at 17.8 billion rand. So the value of the contracting permits that were authorized in the first quarter of 2026 is almost equal to half of that what was authorized for the whole of 2025. And I think, therefore, we give the Joint Standing Committee the assurance that the committee is fully seized with the discharge of its duties in terms of the Conventional Arms Control Act that we outlined above. Chairperson will request, with your permission, that Mr. Sipho Mashaba, a member of the Directorate, do the detailed presentation to the committee. However, for the benefit of members of the public, to whom ultimately we all account, we briefly explain the definition of the various permits and authorizations dealt with in the report. The Act defines marketing as the promotion of conventional arms, and any negotiations, offer, tender, advertising, shows, exhibitions, or giving of information relating to conventional arms. Similarly, the Act defines an export as the transfer of conventional arms from the Republic to any place outside the Republic, and the Act defines an import as to bring conventional arms into any part of the Republic, irrespective of whether it is done in exchange for currency or any other commodity. The Act also defines dual-use goods as products, technologies, services, or other goods which, beside their normal use and application for civilian purposes, can also be used for the furtherance of general military capability, which are contained in a list published by the Minister by notice in the Gazette. Honourable members will take notice that the appendices to the reports that have been submitted outline the range of conventional arms and dual-use items that South Africa is manufacturing and exporting. These range from ammunition to light weapons to high-end technology such as fire control and related alerting and warning equipment, imaging or countermeasure equipment, as well as software. The industries that we are responsible for regulating make a considerable contribution to both economic growth, development and retention of skills and innovation. This in turn contributes directly to our three national priorities of inclusive growth and job creation, poverty reduction and tackling the high cost of living, and building a capable, ethical and developmental state. Accordingly, we reiterate the suggestion that we made previously that the Joint Standing Committee might want to consider engaging with other committees such as the Portfolio Committee on Trade, Industry and Competition, Science, Technology and Innovation, and the defence industry itself regarding the development and transformation of this industry in line with the imperatives of inclusive growth and job creation. Before handing over to Mr. Mashaba to present the detailed report, it would be proper to stress that this report is made and bound by made in terms of and bound by Section 23 of the Conventional Arms Control Act. Section 23(2)(b) of the Act provides that, and I quote, the reports will only reflect the country, the type, the description of controlled items involved, the total value per type exported to the country for the year, and reflect the quantity of controlled items involved, except if the disclosure is prohibited in terms of a confidentiality clause in the contract of sale. The Act goes on to provide in Section 23(2)(c) that information concerning the technical specifications of controlled items may be omitted from a report contemplated in this section in order to protect military and commercial secrets. While Section 23(3) of the Act provides that, and again I quote, no person may disclose any classified document or the content thereof concerning the business of the committee except with permission of a competent authority or as required in terms of the Promotion of Access to Information Act, close quote. We raise these matters because some have raised the concern that the committee's reports are not detailed enough, while others are concerned that they are too detailed. NCACC is a creature of statute. We're bound by the provisions of the Conventional Arms Control Act, which was passed by Parliament after careful consideration of the imperatives dictated by our national interest and security in the context of a constitutional democracy that envisages an open and democratic society. In this regard, we recall the words of the preamble to the Conventional Arms Control Act, and I quote, since the adequate protection of rights to life and security of the person against repression and acts of aggression is fundamental to the well-being and to the social and economic development of every country, and since it is the duty of every government to protect and safeguard the rights of its people, and since every responsible country has the right to acquire arms to equip itself against acts of aggression, and since the Republic is a responsible member of the international community and will not trade in conventional arms with states engaged in repression, aggression, or terrorism, and since the Republic is engaged in the manufacture and export of conventional arms control, and since it is vitally important to ensure accountability in all matters concerning conventional arms, be it therefore enacted by the Parliament of the Republic of South Africa. Chairperson, this year we celebrate the 30th anniversary of the adoption of the Constitution under the theme, One Constitution, One Nation, Reflect, Renew, Recommit. The preamble to the Constitution enjoins us to build a united and democratic South Africa able to take its rightful place as a sovereign state in the family of nations. This meeting takes place on the eve of the commemoration of the 70th anniversary of the 1956 Women's March, serving as a stark reminder that women continue to carry the disproportionate burden of conflict and war. Since we last appeared before the Joint Standing Committee, conflicts in various regions of the world have escalated. We wish to assure members that we strive to maintain strict compliance with the provisions of the Conventional Arms Control Act. Every application that serves before NCACC is accompanied by a detailed report of the Scrutiny Committee. These reports reflect on compliance with domestic and international law, as well as national security and diplomatic relations. We look forward to engaging with the Joint Standing Committee on our report for the first quarter of 2026. We thank you, Chairperson, and with your permission, if we could hand over to Mr. Mashaba to do the detailed report. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Minister, Mr. Mashaba. Let's deal with the presentation straight away. Thank you very much.
Ministers, members of Parliament, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I will share the link now. Chairperson, it looks like from the host side, I'm not able to share my screen. If I could be assisted.
You are able now. I've made you the co-host, Mr. Mashab.
Yeah, you can proceed, Mr. Mashab. You are the co-host. Mr. Mashaba?
Yes, Chair, I am connected now. Can you see my screen?
Okay, then. We can see.
Chairperson, can you see my presentation?
We're not yet seeing it.
The coordinator perhaps need to do something. I can see it on my side.
Okay, it's fine. I will fight it, Mr. Mashaba. You will just inform me when to move to the next slide.
Okay.
Oh, there it's coming, there it's coming.
Are you winning? Okay.
Is it visible?
Yeah, it is visible. You can proceed.
Okay. Oh, there's something that I need to close here. I can't see the entire screen here. Okay. Oh no. Okay. Let me, Chair, if with your permission, given that the chairperson, the deputy chair has already covered ground in terms of what is covered on the presentation, if you allow me to go further down the presentation, not unless you would prefer the commencement from where it all commenced.
Yeah, you can proceed. You can proceed, Mashaba. You can proceed with all the slides.
Okay, thank you, Chair. Chairperson, this presentation is on behalf of the committee. It's covering the report. This is further breakdown of the report as the deputy chair has alluded to earlier. The first slide, Chair, is more to indicate the reason why we exist and the mandate of the committee, and also to indicate that in South Africa per se, we don't have a one-stop shop where you can regulate arms from one shop. We have got sister departments who are also involved. We have got the police who are also involved in small arms. And we also have DTIC who are involved with, WMD and other chemical activities there. But put together, we are serving government. We are all, arms of state that are responsible for the regulation of arms in South Africa. I will move to the next slide. This one, Chair, the next slide, Chair, is more of an indication. It's more of a repetition of what the Deputy Chair has indicated, what is contained in Section 23 in terms of what the report should reflect, and what we also need to be cognizant of, particularly the protection of military and commercial secrets that when reporting, we need to ensure that we don't over-report to compromise those elements, Chair. I will move to the next slide. Okay, the next slide is more about the non-disclosure and the types and all that, as to whether anyone can disclose or not. The Act is very clear when it comes to Section 23 that no one may disclose classified information unless with the permission of the competent authority, which is the committee in this case, or unless as required in terms of the prior Act of 2000. I will then move to the next slide, Chair. Okay, here, Chair, is more an indication of the types of permits that we are responsible for. Initially, before you could even start, exporting or marketing, you need to be registered and be recognized as a participant or an entity that is registered in terms of the Act. And thereafter, you can see the periods is indicated, and the delegations are also there as to where it is approved and the time it takes to issue this kind of a permit or a certificate. And so is the next permit, the marketing permit, which will follow immediately after you are registered. And once you are registered and you have a marketing, you may then also enter into some kind of contracts. But before you could do that, you need to be, the committee need to consider your application and approve it. And that is only the committee that can approve this contracting permit. It's not a contract per se. The committee does not issue a contract, but the committee is actually giving a note to say you may proceed with your commercial contract with the party that is intending to buy from you. And once that has been satisfied and the permit is issued, then you may be able to export. But before you export, there will be processes that you follow. Hence, you have the 16 days. It means that particular application will be subjected to reviews. The departments that are assisting us in this process, we've got police, we've got DTIC, we've got DECO, we've got SSA, and defense is also involved. They will also participate and make inputs as to whether the circumstances that were considered at the time of issuing the contract are still the same. If there is a material change in terms of what is happening in the end user country, then there could be a delay in exporting. So that is subject to review. I must indicate that, Chair. And we also have import under normal circumstances. It will take up to 5 working days. It's not subject to any review, not unless there could be challenges, but under normal operations, it's a 5 working day kind of a permit. And we have a conveyance permit. This is more a permit that where we share or we allow our neighboring states with landlocked states like Botswana and the likes as an example. If they want to use our territory, be it our airspace, our ground and waters to ship their equipment that they are buying elsewhere. So basically, that is the purpose of that particular permit. It takes also 16 days to issue, given that there will be other consideration and inputs that we need to gather from our sister departments. And we have a possession. Normally, these would happen with museums and collectors who are possessing, decommissioned equipment or collector items and so forth. So basically, that is the purpose of that permit. And domestic transfer, basically, this is part of a supply chain where entities domestically will be changing, components in order to integrate and have a system that they will later sell, by means of export. And the destruction, this is the grave site where ultimately decommissioned equipment or munitions will be destroyed. And this is where they must also come for an authorization by the committee. I will then move to the next slide, Chair. Chair, in terms of comparison, we are comparing now the first quarter. You take it back, we'll take it one step backward, which is the last quarter. That was the 1 October to the 31st of December 2025. You could see the statistics there. We had 51 companies registered, 11 marketing permits issued, 45 contractings to the value of 5.3 billion, and 144 exports for munitions for 2.8 billion. And we've got imports for 97 million, and the dual use, we had 13 permits or authorizations issued for 70 million. And I think in the next slide, it's more a comparison. Oh, this is the actual report of 2026, the first quarter. We have got 41, we've got slightly less, as you can see, but there is also a comparison in the next slide. We've got 41 companies registered, 5 marketing permits, 64 contracting permits for 17 billion. Exports, the munitions, 855 million. Import, we've got 76 permits issued for 82 million. And the dual use goods, 29 authorizations for 172 million. And here it's more a comparison of the two quarters. If you compare the last quarter of 2025 with the first quarter, you can see the difference that we had in 2025. In the last quarter, more companies were registered when compared to the first quarter. And again, if you check in terms of contracting, as the Deputy Chair alluded to earlier, you can see that the contract value is way above that of 2025 fourth quarter. And the exports, the exports in munitions in 2025, the last quarter were more. It was 2.8 billion. When compared to the first quarter of 855 million. And coming to the dual use exports, we had 70 million in the last quarter, and with the first quarter of 2026, you can see we've got 172. But perhaps to indicate that with contracting permits, it's not immediate exportation. That I must emphasize, Chair. These are multi-year acquisition programs. Deliveries will happen over years to come, depending on the life cycle of these commodities that have been sold. I will move to the next slide, Chair. Here it's more of a breakdown from the global regions of the statistics that we had in 2025, the last quarter. As you can see in the last quarter, in terms of the regions, for the munitions in particular, Europe was leading with 53%, followed by the Middle East, and followed by Africa. Americas, the percentage was a bit less. The same goes to Asia. The percentage was way less as well. And if you move to the right-hand side, under the dual use, you can see Europe was leading for dual use with the exports, 59%. And we've got followed by Middle East, 30%, and Americas with 11%. Africa and Asia, the percentages were very less, hence you can see the 0 indicated there. I will move to the next slide, Chair. Now we are coming to Q1 of 2026, the same comparisons in terms of the regions that are involved. Under the munitions, again on your left-hand side, you can see Europe is still leading 51%, followed by Middle East and Americas, Africa, and Asia. And then we check on the right-hand side, the dual-use goods. We've got Asia leading and followed by Europe and Americas and Africa and Middle East. This time we had less exports of dual-use goods. I will move to the next slide, Chair. Okay, here we are now zooming specifically to countries within those regions. If you start from your left-hand side, from Africa, as you can see in Africa in 2026, Kenya was the leading country in terms of export of munitions, followed by Angola, then Senegal. And then if you go further down, under Asia, India was the leading country there, followed by South Korea. And if you come to the center there under Europe, you can see the bigger slice went to Germany as one of the countries that exported most munitions, followed by both UK and Switzerland. And Netherlands, I think the figures were a bit low, hence indicated 0. And you go to the right-hand side on top, under Americas, you can see the bigger slice went to Ecuador, followed by Colombia, then Brazil, and the USA. The percentage was very low, hence it is indicated 0. And I think the Africa one is just a duplication. I will then proceed to the next slide, Chair. Okay, the next slide, Chair. This is the dual-use goods for first quarter 2026. As you can see on your left top side, USA was leading with the dual-use exports. And if you go immediately below the US, we've got the Middle East. We've got UAE leading there as well. It's only UAE there with the dual-use goods. And you come to the right-hand side, under Asia. Under Asia, we can see that Vietnam led the dual-use export sales, followed by Singapore. And all other 3 countries, New Zealand, India, and Malaysia, they've shared the same percentage. So their percentages were very low. And you go further down under Europe. Under Europe, Germany is still leading. For dual use is also leading, and it will be followed by Finland and Poland, Czech Republic, Italy, and other countries such as Netherlands and Spain. You can see their percentages are very low. And that is taken care of, and we then conclude our business for today. That was the last slide, Chair. I would await questions and comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mashaba. Thank you for your presentation. Honorable members, I think you have listened attentively to the Deputy Minister and as well as Mr. Mashaba. Can we then engage on the presentation, honorable members? The platform is yours, honorable members. Can we engage on the presentation? I see Honorable Nihas and Honorable Hatting. Let me start with you, Honorable Nihas, and followed by Honorable Hatting and Honorable Kherik and Honorable Munyai. Let me check those 4 hands, then we'll take others. Let's start with you, Honorable Nihas.
Thank you, Honourable Chair. And let me thank the NCACC for the presentation, together with also the Deputy Chair and Deputy Minister, Mr. Andri Snell. And let me also express my appreciation that Minister Nshaveni, who is the chair of the NCACC, is with us today. It is a breath of fresh air compared to previous absences. Chair, we are once again presented with a report with aggregate numbers: 64 contracting permits valued at 117 billion, 86 munition export permits valued at 855 million rand, and 0 denials. Chair, I understand that Deputy Minister Nell continues to tell us that the way in which they report is because the NCACC and its reporting duties are a creature of statute. But I must emphasize once again what I've said in previous reactions to these quarterly presentations, that the very, very small amount of information and detail that is provided make these reports almost unusable. Country destinations, equipment categories, and individual transaction values remain far too opaque. I must again complain, Chair, that this does not allow us as a joint standing committee on defense to carry out our oversight duties. Sadly, these quarterly rituals of reporting such very unusable detail means that we are only indulging in a box-ticking exercise. Section 23 of the National Conventional Arms Control Act requires reporting that enables Parliament to test compliance with the mandatory criteria in Section 15 of the Act. The information that we were provided with this morning does not allow us to do so. The Parliamentary Research Unit's analysis of the 2025 figures shows extreme concentration. It was shown again in the PowerPoint presentation that we received today. Germany alone accounted for 3.36 billion, which is 33%, almost entirely with regards to ammunition. Large volumes of South African ammunition, particularly from Rheinmetall Denel munitions, enter German warehouses, and these large amounts of ammunition, as I've pointed out also in previous events where we had these quarterly presentations, inevitably supplement stocks that support Ukraine and maintain Germany's relationships and arms exports also to Zionist apartheid Israel. We cannot test whether the criteria in Section 15 of the National Conventional Arms Control Act were applied because simply the data is not before us. Equally serious, Chair, is the failure of the Inspectorate to conduct on-location end-user verification outside South Africa. That was in the past also confirmed by Minister Nshaveni in a question for written reply that I directed to her, in which she acknowledged that no such on-location end-user verification inspections had taken place, at least since 2014. Section 9 of the National Conventional Arms Control Act establishes the Inspectorate with the object of ensuring compliance with the Act. And Sections 16 and 17 of the Act require the committee to satisfy itself of end-user undertakings against transfer or re-export. Section 18 grants inspection powers. And yet, despite all these provisions, no foreign on-location inspections have been undertaken for many years. End-user certificates without verification, and I've said this in the last quarterly report when I reacted also, are simply paper promises. In the Middle East, extensive evidence links the United Arab Emirates to the supply of weapons and vehicles to the Rapid Support Forces, the RSF, in Sudan. The paramilitary force formalized under the Rapid Support Forces Act of 2017, and this force is widely accused of atrocities amounting to genocide, especially in Darfur. Paramount's commercial relationship with the UAE entities, Paramount, which is a local South African armaments manufacturer, including the 2019 Bombe 4 contract and the ADASI joint venture, reported by the OCCRP, raise diversion risks involving the Rapid Support Forces that again cannot be assessed by us from the aggregate figures that have been presented today. Chair, a further critical development has now been reports that Paramount Group has moved deeper into the Ukraine's defense market. A Ukrainian configured armored vehicle based on the Bombe 4 platform, the MACL Sova, has received formal approval from Ukraine's Ministry of Defense for service with the armed forces of Ukraine. This project is being led through Paramount Industries, and specifically Paramount Industries Greece SA, the European subsidiary of Paramount, which is in Mitterrand, where its headquarters are. This raises immediate and serious questions under the National Conventional Arms Control Act. The Act through the mandatory, I will conclude just now, Chair. These are important issues. The Act, through the mandatory criteria in Section 15, stipulates that South Africa must avoid transfers likely to contribute to the escalation of regional military conflicts, and that South Africa should not become involved in areas of active conflict of war. And this particular contract does not comply with that. It does exactly that. Therefore, in our view, it contravenes the provisions of the National Conventional Arms Control Act. Chair, you asked me to conclude, so I'll rush through my questions. My first question is, will the NCACC provide a country and category level breakdown of the first quarter figures so that compliance with Section 15 of the National Conventional Arms Control Act can, in fact, be tested? Second, what risks assessments were applied to the large ammunition authorizations for Germany? And I raised my concerns about how that links to the war in Ukraine and Germany's relations with Zionist apartheid Israel. Third, when did the inspectorate last conduct a foreign on-location verification in terms of Sections 9, 16, and 17 of the National Convention Arms Control Act? I said the minister said it had not happened since 2014, but perhaps since she answered my question, things may have changed. And what steps, if it had not changed, are being undertaken to resume them? Fourth, what due diligence was applied to the UAE-linked applications, given documented diversions to the rapid support forces in Sudan? Fifth, has the NCACC assessed paramount industries transactions involving the UAE? Six, and critically, and this is the last question I'm going to ask, Chair, what is the NCACC's position on Paramount's move deeper into Ukraine's defense market? Specifically, the formal approval by the Ukraine's Ministry of Defense for the Mac-Owl armored vehicle based on the Mbombe 4 development, which comes directly from Paramount. Chair?
Thank you, Honorable.
Thanks, Chair. I want to make my last point. The economic freedom fighters maintain that South Africa's arms control system under the National Conventional Arms Control Act must uphold constitutional values and international obligations. The current level of information and the non-use of the Inspectorate's foreign verification mandate make genuine parliamentary oversight impossible. We must call for urgent improvement. The status quo is unacceptable. Chair, if you can please stop interrupting me. I'm now finished. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable Harding.
Thank you, Chair. Now, perhaps we should get again the time rule in that will give us guidance on what time we have for each person's speeches or questions. Then it will perhaps become fair. Chair, this report, and it was also mentioned by Honourable Neos, that there are no denials of any. Let me just put my video on. Of any permit applications during this quarter. However, approvals and denials can certainly not be the only outcomes. The concern is approve or deny. There's nothing in between. Effective regulation is certainly must be more nuanced than that. We need to know whether applications are being deferred or delayed, subjected to additional scrutiny or conditions, revisited as international circumstances change. Without information, we cannot properly assess whether NCACC is actively applying the requirements of Section 15. Or, yeah, and we only get the approved applications. So, Chair, we need to know whether any applications or permits in this period were deferred, delayed, referred back further for further assessment, approved subject to certain conditions, what that first must be met, suspended, amended, whatever happened. No denials, only approvals. That's what we see. So, and then we see that, yeah, and emphasis was put on this many times about the conditions that applies to areas where armed conflict or regional instability is happening. Yet we see that exports have been approved to such countries. In the strict application of that section, the DRC with M23 conflict, Iraq, where we have insurgency and regional tensions also into the surrounding areas. We also see Mozambique in the Cabo Delgado insurgency. How's the Act apply there? What criteria is being used Turkey with operations into Iraq and Syria, yet applications were approved. Then we have the Iran issue at present. So we need to know our foreign policy is founded on the principle of non-alignment, and then there's also the Act. How does the Act and the committee's interpretation of that, as well as the foreign policies, taken into consideration when applications for exports to these and similar countries are actually being considered? Would like to get that. So, Chair, I mentioned that it's only denials or approved and nothing more. It is sort of that the NCACC is happy to give this committee as little and Parliament as little as possible information on its work. And it's a very important work that's been done. Lots of job opportunities is actually based on this. And we know that the arms industry has dramatically declined during the past years. So, Chair, we need to get more information on what exactly is being considered when applications are being considered. And then if we can get in future also those applications that are on hold for a period. We've seen the timetable right in the beginning, but certainly I've seen some evidence of stacks and stacks of documentation in the DCAC office. Certainly those timelines cannot be met, and also with the very limited meetings of the NCACC. I think we need to get more insight into the efficiency of the DCAC and the NCACC in the consideration of applications. Chair, I know we're not going to get the responses now, and I suppose we will again go into the 7-day issue. And I would like to remind you, Chair, that during the July 2025 meeting, there were also questions that were supposed to have been answered within 7 days. We had the explicit undertaking of the Deputy Minister at that stage, and which has never been responded to. So, Chair, once again, very standard item from me is that we strictly adhere to the 7-day response time. I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Houghton. Honorable Gerrit.
Yeah, Chairperson, thank you. I'm going to ask you indulgence to keep my camera off since I have connection problems this side of the world. Chairperson, we've been through this path before, and the Deputy Minister and everybody from NCACC and this committee, and also the Defence Force, know how we have lashed out against the previous report and how we have expressed our discomfort and discontent with the previous report. It is now upsetting this morning, to use this word, that we see a similar pattern here, that NCACC is coming with the same format of this report and ignoring the plea of the committee as has been submitted previously. So I, in my personal capacity, I experience this as a contempt of our calls, a denial of our calls, and actually where NCACC is saying, no, we refuse or decline to give you that information. Now, what is important here is that this report is not a detailed report, it's not comprehensive. It gives us piecemeal information in terms of which we even don't understand, the full picture. So from our side as the EFF, we will call for a comprehensive report ASAP
We have not had an application from Paramount South Africa that says, put this thing through to, we want to export to Europe, whatever. We have not had that consideration. And it's not good that we cast aspersions to South African companies that are doing so much to do work in line with the laws of the Republic and to make sure that they can also contribute to the growing of this economy. So we should not venture into that. I need to plead with members not to do that. I'll hand over to Mr. Mashaba and also the Deputy Chairperson to then do the final responses, Chair. And we are requesting that when we have come to the committee and then there are general discussions, it's not helpful to say we must bring responses because we go out understanding that this is done. When there are questions that are outstanding from these meetings, may we receive a written question, we'll then reply to the written question. If it's just outside of the discussions, we unfortunately, it's very difficult for us to know what we have to report to, what we have not to. So we need a written question sent to us to say, this is the written question that follows from this discussion. Thank you very much, Chair. I'll hand over to Mashaba through you, Chair, and then the Deputy Chairperson will close for us. Thanks.
Thank you, Minister. Okay, Mashaba, the platform is yours. Let's deal with issues which members raised here. Mashaba.
Okay, thank you, Chair. I will deal with the questions from Mr. Gottsal. Yes, to confirm, the system is fully operational, hence we are issuing permits. However, when it comes to the number of permits that are issued and the number that we receive, we need to understand that the applications on their own, they've got their own dynamics that we deal with daily. And as such, perhaps to indicate that we don't set a limit in terms of how many applications we should receive. We don't have target, we are not target based. We only process what we receive. And those that are issued, they also are compliant with the requirements. But for those that are not compliant, may not be issued. And hence, there could be an impression that there is a backlog. It's not a backlog. It depends on the dynamics that are related to a specific permit, because each and every permit would be subjected to, to its, own merits. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Mashaba. Deputy Minister,
No, Chairperson, thank you very much, and thank you for the questions by the members. I mean, and I don't say that lightly, because we've made the point before that much as the Joint Standing Committee on Defence is an oversight body, we ourselves are both a regulator, and through that we oversee. We have a statutory mandate from Parliament to oversee the defence industry. So your inputs also sharpen and assist us in executing our responsibilities. But the fact of the matter is, and we can't tire of saying this, that we are a creature of statute. We operate within a piece of legislation that was passed by Parliament after due and deliberate consideration of the various aspects of our national interest. The commitment of our Constitution to be a responsible member of the family of nations, to comply with international treaties and obligations. Thirdly, to comply with our own foreign policy to safeguard our national sovereignty and national interest, and also to promote our own national economic development. All of those imperatives find expression in the Conventional Arms Control Act. The Act is very, very explicit about what it is that we are required to report to Parliament. And may we add that we are reporting before a committee which correctly, in terms of the rules of Parliament, functions as an open committee. It is not a committee like the Joint Standing Committee on Intelligence, where members are vetted and the deliberations take place within closed session. So I think members must appreciate that we are not the originators of the Act in terms of which we function. Parliament is. If there is unhappiness about the form and the content of the information, surely the correct avenue would be for the committee to report to Parliament and to recommend that consideration be given to an amendment of the legislation. But I don't think it's correct or reasonable or lawful to merely by way of suggestion tell the committee that it must report in manners which is contrary to the laws of the Republic. We can't do that. We have taken oaths as members of Parliament, as members of the executive, to uphold the Constitution and the law of the Republic. And in everything that we do, we follow the prescripts of the Act absolutely, meticulously, to the best of our ability. I think the chairperson has responded to a number of the questions relating to specific applications in relation to specific regions, and also the question of the inspectorate. Members must also recall that as a creature of statute, we are vulnerable to litigation from two broad fronts. At one level, we are facing litigation from groups that feel that we haven't applied the provisions of the law strictly enough in terms of limiting exports. On the other hand, we face significant pressure by the industry and sometimes through members of this committee acting on behalf of the industry to say that we are applying those prescripts too strictly. There also, we face the possibility of litigation, and therefore we need to be meticulous in all respects of following the prescripts of the Act. Where there is concrete evidence, we must act upon that. But we cannot take decisions based on suspicion or conjecture. That would be failing in our duties, and it would open us also to the liability of litigation. So, Chairperson, I think the report represents an honest reflection of the work done by the committee. I think just to also touch upon the issue raised by the Honourable Hatton, which has already been answered or touched upon by the chairperson, is that indeed there are applications that we don't approve or deny, but we put those matters under further consideration, exactly because we are dealing often with a situation that is complex, that involves both national security, diplomacy, as well as economic interests, but also is subject to an ever-evolving set of circumstances. Under those conditions, we do put those matters under consideration. It's also very difficult to, in an open committee, to report on the factors that lead us to put a matter under further consideration, because they involve sensitive matters of national security and diplomatic relations. Chairperson, thank you very much.
Thank you, Deputy Minister. In closing with, I would say the committee wishes...
Before you close, I raised my hand quite a while earlier because I wanted to raise a simple point which has now been highlighted by the Deputy Minister, that there's litigation against the NCACC that is taking place. Now, unfortunately, you allowed the Minister to act as chair and just start talking over me when I wanted to raise this. Chair, the South African Litigation Centre, the SALC, has instituted on the 3rd of June of this year. Please, Chair, instituted proceedings in the Northern Gauteng High Court. And they are seeking the suspension or cancellation of South African arms export permits issued in respect of exports to the United States.
Order.
Can the chair of the NCACC and the deputy chair comment on
Chairperson
this
Pala, order,
particular
please.
serious matter that had been brought to the courts by the South African Litigation Centre?
When
There
we
is a
get
report
involved in
by
okay.
the SABC News chair, which I could have placed on our
Honorable
WhatsApp group if you had not censored
Honorable
us and nannied us and not allowed us to place these reports. But we do need to get a response to this particular matter of the Southern African Litigation Centre. It is directly relevant for the presentation that we received today, and it is relevant because it says that we have failed to actually comply with the law with regards
Order,
to
please.
exports to the
Minhas.
United States of
You're not
America.
considering
Thank
my
you.
order, Chairperson.
Honorable
I've been
Minhas,
calling order. You never allowed it.
Thank you very much.
Allowed in this meeting.
Honorable Minhai, can you just be thank you very much. Honorable Minister, do you want to answer the question by Honorable Minhas?
Thank you, Chairperson. I must put it on record that the matter of the Southern African Litigation Centre has been withdrawn from court. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Honorable members, let's proceed.
Chair, did you see my hand?
The committee.
Chair, did you see my hand, Chair?
Yeah, my hand is also up, Chairperson.
And mine.
Honorable members, we can't proceed in this manner.
But Chair, you did
not
allow
proceeding,
Honorable Neos, and you did allow the Minister to jump in. So we are members of this committee. We should get the same opportunity.
Good. Honorable Hutton, can you be short, please?
Certainly, I will do that. And I would also like ask for the decorum when the chairperson speaks that we actually obey that. Chair, I will do that. Chair, what I've asked for, and nobody has asked for the details which may have diplomatic consequences, security consequences. Nobody asked for that. It was not necessary for the deputy minister to say that cannot be divulged. What we're asking for, and we actually need that if we see there's a problem at the DCAC or the NCACC, to approach Parliament. We need the numbers. We need to know how many applications are in that office, lying there for 6 months, 12 months, and in different categories. That is not asking too much. There are no reasons why the exact statistics cannot be given. Number of applications deferred, number of applications being set aside for further research or for input from the Department of DIRCO or whoever. That's so just to laugh it off and saying it's a security issue. The details cannot be mentioned here is not what was asked. We need to know if the DCAC and the NCACC are functioning properly, and if there are hindrances in their way that prevent them from functioning properly and impacting negatively on the arms industry of South Africa as well as on our economy. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Hutton. Honorable Gozal, short, please, be short. Honorable Gozal.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, sure, I will be short. Mr. Mashaba has now responded, well, basically to none of my questions. So firstly, I'd like to ask that those questions are answered in writing. If you could please make a ruling on that. But perhaps if you could just answer one question, and to keep it short as you asked, the reports from the industry is that there is a backlog. Mr. Mashaba says there is no backlog. I would like to ask him then if he is saying that the industry is lying.
Thank you, Honorable Kharik.
Chairperson, I'm going to be very brief. Minister Ntshavheni has already partially covered part of my questions, and I thank her for that. But there's a serious plea from our side serious, and I want you to take this serious. This committee is a powerful, very powerful committee that needs some decorum and some dignity. And we don't need to end up every Friday like this to degenerate the meeting. When our role is as politicians, we see clarity questions, and if the officials can give us, or the politicians, the ministers can give us clarity on our questions, then that's the end of it. We don't need to sit here and make as if we single out suspicion or suspects. This is not the case. This is our oversight role. We are not scared of vetting. You can do the vetting, but it seems the member does not even understand the rules of this committee. We must ask questions. Hold on, sir. We ask questions on behalf of the general public and people that approach us to speak for them. So we don't need to sit and fight. We need clarity answers. We do understand the Act. And if a document is classified as confidential or classified information, then just tell us straightforward that we cannot just discuss this information here, but we will forward the information or we will call a special meeting. It's the end of it if we do it that way. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thanks, Mr. Mashaba. Can you answer the question of
my hand is
Mr.
up, Chair.
Honorable Patel?
My hand is up, Chair.
Honorable Nyai, can you be short, please?
No, I'll be short. As others, yeah. Number one, Chairperson, I think the rules of Parliament accommodate for point of order. If such is raised as I did, should be allowed in the meeting. Those are a meeting procedure. Number two, Chairperson, the minister clarified to what extent the Joint Standing Committee on Defence can receive report on details. And I think we must appreciate that. We must refamiliarize ourselves with that section of the Act, such that we are very much clear, because I'm raising this issue, Chair, such that tomorrow we should not find ourselves getting involved in the internal operation of the committee itself and want to get involved on the nitty-gritty of the adjudication. That will be very dangerous for this.
Order, Chairperson.
Can I please conclude? Lastly, Chairperson, I'm raising that because we will end up being representative of companies that has been declined to export certain arms and so forth and so on, given in the context of national security and so on. So that is the basis in which I was trying to raise my hand earlier. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Nyai. Honorable Mr. Mashaba, can you answer the question of Honorable Kozel, please?
Mr. Chairperson, Honorable Chairperson, it cannot be Mr. Mashaba who responds. It's us as the committee. I want to respond specifically. Mr. Mashaba has responded. We don't have a backlog. And when members want to tell us what industry is saying, when we're saying in terms of our system, we do not have a backlog. I do not know what we're supposed to do. Mr. Mashaba responded in terms of the functionality of the system. Mr. Korsel Honorable Korsel may not like the response that Mr. Mashaba has provided. We're not going to provide any further responses. We've provided our system is working and it's working to the design specifications that we've had. And that's it. And we don't have a backlog. We're not going to be asked whether who's lying, who's not lying. It's not our space. We're saying we don't have a backlog in terms of the applications, the ones that are due are due. So we are requesting that we can't speak on behalf of industry. We are not dealing with members of industry. We are dealing with members of parliament who have oversight responsibility over us. And why should they prefer to take a side of industry over our side as members? And I want to put it on record, which I'm very bothered, Chairperson. You recognize me to respond. Honorable Nihas then speaks over me. And then I call for you to intervene because you had recognized me. He had not raised his hand, or he just barged into my response. So I didn't speak over him. You recognized me to speak, and he interjected in that response, which is very unfair, because he could have allowed us to put our response through and say, and raise this and further. And with that, Chairperson, we have responded to the questions as asked to the best of our information and to the best of what we are required by law to provide to the committee. And there's nothing more we can provide to the committee. As the deputy chair has indicated, we report in accordance with what the law requires us to do, and that's where we are, Chairperson. And we've then tabled the report to the committee for the first quarter, because that's the work that has been done by this committee. Because our responsibility for quarter, we must bring reports of the work done in that quarter, and we have brought the work done that's in that quarter. Members have asked questions. We have clarified the questions that are asked by members on that, but we have tabled the report as required by law. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Minister. Thank you very much, Minister. Let's conclude on this matter. The committee wishes to thank the National Conventional Arms Control Committee and the Directorate for Conventional Arms Control for appearing before us today and for the report presented. We also thank the members for their robust and constructive engagement. The discussions and questions demonstrate that the committee takes its oversight responsibility seriously, both in ensuring that South Africa maintains a responsible, transparent, and compliant conventional arms control regime, and in ensuring that the Directorate is appropriately capacitated and administratively equipped to discharge its important mandate effectively. Today's engagement forms part of the committee's broader work on South Africa's defense industry and its regulatory environment, including the recommendation emerging from the recent Defense Industry Lekgotla. It is clear from today's discussion that the committee requires further information on the administrative arrangements and functioning of the NCACC, and we look forward to continuing this engagement with the NCACC and the TCAC in the period ahead. We especially wish to thank the NCACC for the assurance that meetings are now taking place regularly, and the committee wishes to see this trend continue to give certainty to the industry. We trust that this ongoing dialogue will contribute to further strengthening South Africa's conventional arms control and supporting the responsible growth of the country's defense industry. With those few words, we would like to excuse the Minister. We really appreciate your presence, Minister, and the Deputy Ministers, and all the officials present here. You are now excused. We are going to go to the next part of our business of the day. And Ministers, you are excused.
Thank you very much, Chairperson and members.
Honourable members, let's proceed with our next item. Nandiba, can you fly our agenda, please?
It's the Lekgotla report, Chair.
The next item on the agenda is the Lekgotla report. Okay, let's give the content advisor, Dr. Vellum, if you can deal with that part.
Thank you, Chair, and good morning again to yourselves and the members. To those who joined later, good morning again. Chair, members received this draft report. So this is a draft report based on the presence of the committee at the Defence Industry Lekgotla. And I will go briefly through the report. I'm not going to go through it in full detail, but I'll just take out some highlights from the report and then pause for consideration rather at this recommendation section at the end of the report. So this is the report of the Joint Standing Committee of Defence and the Portfolio Committee on Defence and Military Veterans on the Defence Industry Lekgotla, and it's dated today. Just a reminder that the Lekgotla was aimed at identifying opportunities, fostering partnerships, and generating pragmatic recommendations that can be rapidly implemented within a whole-of-government approach to furthering the defence industry. And what is the purpose? We've also included here the purpose of the committee's attendance at the Lekgotla. is engaging with key stakeholders, which is one of the focus areas of Parliament. So this was a unique opportunity to engage with all relevant stakeholders on the issue. And then specifically related to this committee, the constitutional mandate of this committee, which gives the committee the mandate to make recommendations on, among other things, the armament of the SANDF. So that there's a significant correlation between the constitutional directives for this committee and the discussions that were ongoing at the Lekgotla. There's also engagement on it also relates to the committee's engagement on overseeing the evolution of the National Defence Industry Council. So after this, we have a list of members that attended, members and staff that attended from the various parties, as well as key delegates in attendance, which includes the ministers, Chief SANDF, and the CEO of AMD. The next section, section 2, deals with an overview of the Lekgotla. First, there's a summary of the plenary sessions, and here we just included a brief summary of the key points noted by the discussions during the plenary, and this includes the opening remarks by the Minister of Defence and Military Veterans, the remarks by the co-chairperson, yourself, Mr. Pala, the remarks by the Chief of the SANDF, the remarks by the Secretary for Defence, the CEO of AMD, Mr. Ndlovu, Deputy Minister of Defence and Military Veterans, focus area that highlighted a number of focus areas for the second day of the discussions. Opening comments also by Mr. Lekgotla from the Portfolio Committee, and then by the Armscore Board, as well as the Denal Board. The next section of the report then goes a bit more into detail on providing an overview of the discussions that took place. And as members may recall, deliberations during this Lekgotla centered on 6 commissions. And the commissions took place, there were pre-sessions prior to the Lekgotla itself. There were discussions by the various commissions, and members had an opportunity to take part in those discussions. So the aspects raised in section 3 of this report, we broke it down per commission, but it was more related to the discussions at the Lekgotla itself. And here, just extracting some of the highlights, the Innovation Commission that discussed the lack of coherence between intellectual property rights from Publicly Financed Research and Development Act and the Armscore Act, one of the key issues that they raised, as well as the fact that the defence industry remains largely excluded from broader government incentive programs. And they called for improved access to appropriate state-owned research infrastructure. The Localization and Exports Commission, they focused on discussions around sustained export growth that remains essential to the viability of the industry. Concerns were raised there around the lengthy export approval processes, limited access to export financing. And on the second day, they also discussed the conventional arms control system that was raised there as an issue. There was also some input from members of Parliament, specifically in this commission, that highlighted the need to thoroughly review the existing legislative framework to determine whether amendments are indeed required. And then they also focused on the continued reliance on outdated international control lists, as well as the need to modernize the South Africa's conventional arm control regime. The other commission, or the third commission, focused on strategic assets and partnerships. And the main discussion point of the commission, which took up the majority of time of this commission, revolved around the concept of sovereignty. I'm not going to highlight everything here. This is just a high-level overview of some of the discussions there. But in the end, when they presented their final summary of the discussions, they noted that the Commission emphasized the need for the Department of Defence to assume a leading role in defining South Africa's strategic sovereign requirements and in identifying those capabilities that are essential to preserving the country's long-term defence and security interests. In terms of the Finance Commission, the impact of declining defence funding was raised. Members are well aware of this matter. And in terms of considering possible interventions, the Commission emphasized the need to strengthen export support and consolidate existing support programs to streamline regulatory processes and strengthen export promotion policies. They also had discussions around the Defence Industry Fund and the Industrial Development Corporation's revised responsible investment policy. Then there was the Acquisition and Procurement Modernization Commission, and primarily discussions revolved around existing acquisition and procurement policies that require review. That was the opinion of the Commission, and a significant focus was placed on the possibility to use PPPs, public-private partnerships, to engage in this matter. Some technical aspects were also raised by members of the Commission around the SAP 1000 and SCAMP approaches, and then some input from members of Parliament that noticed from previous parliamentary recommendations the need for procurement reform to recognize the operational realities of the SANDF. But members also correctly noted that any deviations or any structures that are put in place for deviations around acquisitions and procurement require strict legislative control to ensure that there's no abuse. Members also noted the need for increased defence funding that must be accompanied by internal prioritization of funding, and members also repeated a back-to-basics approach that was captured in previous parliamentary reports as well. Lastly, there was the Capacity Building and Inclusivity Commission that focused specifically on human capital, skills base, and industrial capacity required to sustain South Africa's future defence and technology ecosystem. And they focused on matters around access to the continued relevance, and they focused on the continued relevance and effectiveness of the Defence Sector Charter. There was some debate around its continued relevance. And then a key theme was the need for capacity building initiatives to protect high technology capabilities and to retain those scarce skills in the sector. Chair, members, I'll carry on to the next section where I'm also not going to go into detail, because members might recall at the end of the last session where members were present at the Lekgotla, there was a comprehensive summary provided by each commission. So what this captures here is just a...
Are you still there, Doc?
Yes, Chair, can you hear me? Hello, Chair?
Dr. Vella?
We can hear
you.
Yeah, Chair, I don't know if you can hear Dr. Willem Jansen van Rensburg. I can hear him. I don't know if other members can hear, but I hear him loud and clear.
That's fine.
Okay, thank you, members. I'll carry on. Just reshare the page quickly. Members, can you just confirm if it's visible again?
Yeah, it is. It is.
Okay. Thank you, Chair, members. I'll carry on. The section 4 deals with a summary of the draft resolutions proposed by the Lekgotla. And members may recall that each commission provided feedback. So what we did here simply is to have a summary of each of the commission's resolutions as they had it there on the day. So this is, we didn't want to add or take away from what the commission said, but I think it's important that we highlight at the top here that these are draft resolutions from the Lekgotla. So we included them in the various sections, and we provided for them as per the 6 commissions. And that brings us to the end of the report, which is the recommendations. And I'll just go through this section in a bit more detail. The committee's participation in the Lekgotla aligned with their constitutional oversight mandate, as well as Parliament's objective for promoting broader public participation. The participation should primarily be viewed within the context of the committee's ongoing oversight of the defence industry, particularly as it relates to the capacitation of the SANDF. In this context, the committee makes the following primary recommendation. And members, the proposal here is that there's one key recommendation followed by a few secondary recommendations, but there will still be output from the Lekgotla. The minister and the department is taking the recommendations further, and I think that is the key aspect here that the committee should consider. So the recommendation is as follows. To facilitate effective parliamentary oversight of the SANDF's capacitation and to ensure that the Lekgotla resolutions translate into measurable outcomes, the committee recommends that the minister table the approved list of Lekgotla resolutions together with detailed implementation plans, responsible institutions, and implementation timelines to the committee by 15 October 2026. While a comprehensive list of resolutions is required, the submission should make specific note of the following: resolution and implementation plans related to the DoD and entities under parliamentary oversight to ensure continued oversight by the committees, and secondly, clarity on financing of resolutions by indicating which resolutions require no additional funding and which require reprioritization and new appropriations. So that, members, chairs, we propose as the key recommendation. It gives the executive an opportunity to take ownership of the outflow of the Lekgotla, and by putting a date to it and putting some reporting requirements to it, the committee ensures that there is an output from this Lekgotla, and also it allows us to then take the input from the minister and plan going forward on how the committee can continue to oversee the actual implementation of some of those resolutions. In addition to that key primary recommendation that we proposed, the committees also noted, and members will recall this during discussions at the various commissions, that some of the focus areas aligned with the oversight priorities emerging during the 7th Parliament. Accordingly, the committees recommend the following, and perhaps here especially there's opportunity for members to provide further input following today's engagement with the NCACC. The committees recommend the following then, that the Department of Defence, in consultation with the NCACC and other relevant role players, undertake a comprehensive review of the National Conventional Arms Control Act, together with all subordinate legislation and regulations, to determine whether the legislative framework achieves an appropriate contemporary balance between South Africa's international arms control obligations, the competitiveness of the domestic defence industry, and the capacitation of the SANDF. And initial findings should then be presented to the committee by 28 February 2027. This gives them significant time to delve into the legislation, and also enough time for Parliament to effect any changes should there be a need identified. Furthermore, the Minister should undertake a review of the operational effectiveness, institutional capacity, and resourcing of the DCAC to identify areas requiring improvement and provide the committees with the outcome of the initial assessment by 15 October, with a final reporting date to be determined thereafter. The committees further recommend urgent intervention to modernize the DCAC to ensure a modern electronic permit application and processing system, and initial progress in this regard should also be provided on 15 October 2026. Next, the committees undertake to schedule an engagement with the NCACC regarding the roles, functions, successes, and challenges of the Council, and in particular, its role in coordinating and supporting the implementation of the Lekgotla resolutions. Second last, the committee encouraged more regular engagement between the SANDF and the defence industry, particularly at technical level, to ensure shared understanding of the SANDF's future capability requirements, while providing industry with opportunities to present emerging technologies and capabilities. And lastly, the committee undertakes to engage the Department of Defence on the status of Defence Foreign Relations Division and South Africa's defence diplomacy capability, including the role of defence attachés, with specific emphasis on clarifying their contribution to supporting the South African defence industry and defence exports. This is perhaps a wider discussion opening up here through this draft recommendation. If members would consider it, it's an opportunity to have broader discussions around defence diplomacy of the country, and then specifically how it relates to defence exports. We just finished here with the proposal to thank the organisers of the Lekgotla from the Department of Defence, the entities and the industry for ensuring that Parliament's participation is ensured in these deliberations. Chair, I'll hand back to you. This is what we propose for members' further consideration and input. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Doc. Honourable members, here is the presentation, the report of our Lekgotla. Is there any comment before we adopt the report? Honourable members?
Please also note me, Chair.
Who must I note?
My name is Chiri Zimnyai.
And Chair, I'm sure you see
okay.
my hand. I've also raised my hand. It's Carl Nias.
Yeah, I'm looking at the hands here, but okay, let me start with you, Munyai, then Honorable Nihas, then we'll take other hands. Honorable Munyai.
Chairperson, at least I was deployed to participate into innovation. One, there was no issue that the Defence Amendment Act should be, Arms Corps Amendment Act should be reviewed. The only act that was reported, even corrected this in the plenary, was the IPR Act of Arms Corps that deals with the IP. There was nothing wrong with the defense, with the Arms Corps Amendment Act. That is the first issue that was clarified, both in the plenary and also in the commissions. And I must also emphasize that there was issues that was raised even in the plenary that we have also sent some documentation to get them amendment, because industry was arguing that the defense attaché must give them intelligence of other countries' defense capabilities. We said those issues can be addressed through the diplomatic control with the relevant trade and industry counselor who will be able to give those issues, because the defense attaché, amongst others, they have other different role in diplomacy. And lastly, the issue of sovereignty was removed from our commission chair of innovation, because the professor that was trying to introduce the matter was arguing that South Africa cannot have sovereignty of technology because South Africa doesn't produce anything. So the commission dismissed that thing, and in the plenary, it was not even reported on behalf of our commission. But what I wanted to emphasize or to get corrected is the issues of the amendment of the Arms Corps Act. So there's nothing, commission and the plenary, as we represented, there was nothing wrong with that act. So even if the ministry brings the report, we'll still correct that what has been corrected in the Lekgotla. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Munyai. Honorable Nihas.
Thank you, Chair. My first question is just one for clarification, and that is how quickly we need to present this report from our Joint Standing Committee to Parliament. Because I've got some substantial suggestions that I want to make, and I don't think it would be appropriate to try and do so now in this committee to go into detail about this, because it covers critical issues around funding, realism, implementability, and our parliamentary role. The Honourable Munai has raised some issues of substance, and then you yourself have suggested, and also so has Dr. Wilhelm Janse van Rensburg actually, that we need to look at the NCACC inputs also in the light of the presentation that we have received today. So if we are not in a rush to get this report presented, may I propose that we put in writing what our concerns are, or the additions that we would like to see in the report, that Dr. Wilhelm Janse van Rensburg works on those, and that at another one of our meetings, we just quickly then look at the report and approve it. I don't think that second bite at the report will necessarily take a long time if we already now have provided our information in writing to Dr. Willem Janse van Rensburg. Having said that, it doesn't mean that we do not appreciate the hard work that he has done. It is extensive work and it is good work, but this Lekgotla was of absolute importance to the defense industry, and we must make sure that our report reflects accurately and factually exactly how we experienced that Lekgotla, and also what the role of the Joint Standing Committee on Defense, and in fact also the Portfolio Committee on Defense and Military Veterans should be in this regard, because we were both present at the Lekgotla. So, Chair, I would propose, if we do not have a rush to present this report immediately now, that we follow that kind of approach. And I'm definitely ready to provide my written proposals to Dr. Willem Janse van Rensburg. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Niehaus. Thank you for that proposal. Honorable members, Honorable Niehaus is making a proposal here that let's not rush the report. Let's go into it again and forward whatever we think is not covered in the report to Dr. Willem. I'll hear from you, honorable members. Is there anyone who differ from that position? From me, I would support it. That we go. It's a very a long report which really need to be dealt with. Honorable Munyai, do you want to?
Chair, I would, you know, the reason I was going to agree with the doctor who presented that this thing must be done immediately, because faster, because the representative of the industry, the organization, may want to publish the outcome of the resolution as practical and quickly as possible. And we will miss the opportunity to correct what we think is not well represented in the actual report. So maybe we may have to interface with them quickly so that they understand what areas of agreement and areas of disagreement before the actual report published into the industry and the all over, you know, for public consumption. So that's what I will recommend. I think I will agree with the view of Honorable Niehaus that we can send recommendation, and I agree that we must get the department as early as possible so that they know areas of correction that we want to deal with. Though we would have sent it through the Honorable Dr. van Rensburg. Thank you.
So thank you, Honorable Munyai. Can we agree that we will in next week we'll finalize this report? For now, we leave it and we make those proposals as Honorable Niehaus had proposed. Then next week, then we will look into the report and make a final determination about the report. Can we agree on that position?
Okay, can I just make one point, please? It's very short.
Yes, Honorable Niehaus.
I understand the concern that
yes,
Honorable Munyai, yes, I'm speaking, Chair. I understand the concern that the Honorable Munyai is raising, but of course, at the same time, we must understand that we are going to produce this report, and it will then go to Parliament, and then it will be formally noted by Parliament. So it is not a rushed matter where we can just simply put this report out into the public domain without following the correct procedures. But I've got no problem with putting my recommendations and suggestions for amendments to Dr. Willem Jansen van Rensburg. Actually, at this very minute, I've got them ready. And I think it is fine. We can conclude the report within a week, but we do need to note that there are procedures in Parliament that needs to be followed before we can make this report a public document. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Nihast. I think we submit those recommendations, and let's deal with this report next week. And I'll also urge members to look into the report once again and see what is it which members think is not covered by the report. So next week, then we forward those proposals to Dr. Willem. And then next week, when we meet, we will, do a final determination on the report. Can we just take that position, honourable members?
Thank you, Chair.
Chair?
Yes.
Chair.
Thank you, Chair.
Chair, may I make a recommendation or request?
Okay, let's make a recommendation.
It's just regarding the time frames, Chair. If I may request then, or recommend that if members can send us their input by, let's say, next week Wednesday, then I'll make the changes. We can send it to members with the changes indicated then by the Wednesday or Thursday. And then if there's an opportunity next week Friday, we can discuss it, but it might be quite difficult during an oversight visit with another committee to get it done, Chair. If there's an opportunity, we can discuss it on the 14th. If not, then we can maybe make a special arrangement for a quick 30-minute meeting on the Monday, the 17th, for example, to finalize this report, if that suits members.
Okay. Okay. No, I think it makes... Honorable Hala? Honorable Hala?
No, I'm covered, Chair. I'm covered.
Yeah, you're covered. Honorable members, I think Dr. Willem is proposing that countries submit any information which you think is missing the report, at least by until next week Wednesday. And from there, the report will be prepared, and then we can have a special meeting of 30 minutes or an hour, I think, on Monday to look into the report and adopt the report and make it. So I think I'll go with that recommendation on members if we agree. Okay, let's take it that honourable members look into the report and make some submissions, and then we'll therefore then communicate how we are going to manage the report going forward. But I think the issue of Monday the 17th, if honourable members are available, we'll communicate in our WhatsApp just to have an hour, 30 minutes to an hour for the report, and we deal with it. And so let's leave it in that manner, honourable members. Let's proceed with our last two items on members, which is the minutes of the minutes of our Nantipa. Which one do we deal with it?
Chair, it's Honourable Niehaus. My sincere apologies. There is a serious issue that has just come to my attention. And that is that we have been misled by the minister who is the chair of the NCACC. She said that the case of the Southern African Litigation Centre, SALC, had been withdrawn. We've just had contact with Dr. Kisler, from Dr. Attila Kisler, from the SALC, and the case is not withdrawn. Now, obviously, this will have consequences for the minister, misleading Parliament, and the economic freedom fighters will take this matter further with the Speaker and also with the Ethics Committee, because Parliament cannot be misled by a member of Parliament. I repeat, the case of the SALC against the NCACC is not withdrawn. Thank you, Chair. I don't think we need to debate it, but it's important that we take note that this happened today.
Can I interject the chairperson through you? Sorry, Chair,
Okay, the
to come
platform is
in
yours,
without.
Honorable.
No, I'm just saying to what Honorable Niehaus is raising, Chair. We should be procedural all the time. We shouldn't just come out fighting and gambling. There is not, it's all verbal. The minister responded verbally. Honorable Niehaus presented something verbally in the meeting. Again, is doing that. And I don't think it's abuse of the platform of the committee. If that has got to be the business of the committee, it has got to be submitted properly, formally. Anything that the committee will have to take responsibility for. As the chair sitting there, you've got nothing in front of you that relates to that case. So let it be not the business of the committee until it is presented and everyone present what he, she or knows. Let us just be formal in the manner in which we handle matters, not discuss a hearsay, a verbal thing, and then put it finally as something that will have appear that the committee discussed that case. The committee has not discussed that case. We know nothing about it. So please, let it be handled properly. I don't have anything problem with the stand and position of Honorable Niehaus, but we cannot be bound by what he's saying, which we don't know, we have not seen. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chair. We'll provide the necessary information and documentation in writing to the committee as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Niehaus. Okay, let's proceed, all members. Nandiba, which minutes are we starting with? Can you just fly the minutes, please? There you are, honorable members. These are the minutes of the Joint Standing Committee on Defense of the 12th June, which I hope that you have read. And the agenda of that meeting was the Department of Defense and the Department of Public Works infrastructure briefings. This was the main subject of the discussions. Can we? And I hope that you have read the minutes, honorable members. Can we move, Nandiba? Yeah, let's move. Okay, thank you. I think this should be the last part of the minutes. Thank you, honorable members. Here the minutes of the 9th. Is there anything which you think need to be rectified here? Can we consider these minutes to be reflecting that our discussion on that particular day? All members, let's engage on the minutes.
I move for adoption of the minutes.
Thank you, Honorable Noe. Can we have the seconder, please? Can we second the adoption of this minutes, honorable members?
I second, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Hala. The minutes are duly seconded. Can we fly the second part of the second set of the minutes, Nandiba? This one is the date of the 9th, honorable members. This was a briefing on the presidential letter of employment of the SANDF under Operation Prosper, dated the 30th of. Let's move. Let's move, honorable. Let's move, Antipa. Yeah, this I think it was one of the shortest meeting. It was about the deployment of our soldiers on Prosper. In fact, it was extension, honorable members, if I'm not mistaken. Is there anything which you want us to rectify on this minutes, honorable members? Can we adopt? Can we move the adoption of the minutes?
I move for the adoption of the minutes, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Nihas. Can we have the seconder, please?
I second, Chair.
Thank you very much, the Minister, Judith. In conclusion, honorable members, we have a new member of our Honorable Noah. Honorable Noah, can you mute, please?
Yes,
Honorable members, we have a new. Yes.
Yeah, no, I was saying, Chair, I was just checking. We have adopted the minutes duly so, but I was just checking, do we sometimes not engage on the matters arising from the minutes? I'm looking at the resolution specifically, because the resolution has something to do with the committee engaging with the National Treasury in relation with the release of funds for the deployment. Can we perhaps address ourselves to that in the form of whether there is any information latest that says funds have been removed, and if they have not been removed, now that we have resolved as a committee to engage with National Treasury, what do we do?
Yeah, you are quite correct. Yeah, you are quite correct, honorable member and honorable Noah. I think yeah, we are supposed to check any matters arising from those minutes. So the issue which you are raising is that are there any funds with regard to Operation Prosper which we raised with the department, which we will, honorable Noah?
Yes, I was just asking. I was just asking whether do we have an update as a committee? If an update says no funds have as yet been released, what we then do, because we have undertook to engage with National Treasury. Do we leave it there, or do we pursue that resolution?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You're quite correct. We took a decision that we need to engage National Treasury, and we made a request to meet them. I think it was last week Friday. That meeting could not succeed as the Treasury responded. But let me give Dr. Velem a platform to deal with that part. Dr. Velem, can you deal with that with the issue of the National Treasury?
Chair, I think it's addressed in the development yesterday at the Portfolio Committee. So in short, that recommendation was translated into the program of the two committees. So as we adopted earlier today, a joint meeting between the Portfolio Committee on Defence and this committee will take place with National Treasury on the 26th of August. So that recommendation has been translated into action for the 26th of August, Chair.
Thank you very much. I think it's very clear, honorable members, that that proposal that we wanted to meet with the National Treasury, as the doc is putting it, that it was discussed at the portfolio committee, and there's an agreement that we'll have a joint meeting of both committees together with National Treasury, and we'll have the matter will be discussed on the 26th of this month. I hope it's very clear, and yeah, and it will be good as an honorable members. We are on the same meeting. We are also inviting the committee which deals with appropriation to be part of that meeting, so that we have common understanding of what needs to be done with regard to these deployments, because of the issue of funds is a problem for the National Defence Force. But I think on that day we'll be able to deliberate on these matters and come with a solution going forward. Is there any other thing on members which you want us to discuss from emanating from our previous minutes? If none, let's proceed, honorable members. I was saying, honorable members, I think you are aware that our committee assistant, Mr. Ndou, is no longer going to work with us. We have been allocated a new member by the name of Maluleka. I want us to welcome him. Mr. Maluleka, can you just put your video so members can see you? Mr. Maluleka?
Yes, Chair. Are you able to see me?
Yeah, we can. Yeah, we see you there. There you are. You are welcome. This is a new committee assistant. Will be working with him, and Mr. Maluleka, I hope you know what Mr. Ndou how he has been working with the committee, and we hope that you are going to take from there, and you will not step down. You'll ensure that the committee is properly catered for in all the logistical requirements. You are welcome. Is there anything which you want to say to the members of the committee?
Thank you so much, the Honorable Chair and the members and the fellow colleagues. Thank you for welcoming me. I'm joining the committee. I'm not new in Parliament, but I'm new to the committee. Thank you so much.
Okay, thanks a lot, Mr. Maluleka. You are welcome. We're looking forward to work with you. We'll meet you when we come to Parliament. Members, I think we have come to the end of our meeting. Nandiba, is there any other thing before I close the meeting?
No, Chair. No, Chair.
Oh, thanks a lot. Honourable members, let me once again appreciate your presence and also your engagement on the issues which we're discussing with the NCACC, and I hope some of those issues which have not been responded to, if you can do some of them in writing and forward them to the committee so they can be forwarded to the ministry. But let me once again appreciate your presence and say thank you very much. And we are looking forward to, we'll meet next week when we go and do an oversight, and we'll also meet on that other week to deal with these other issues of finance in our closed meetings. And once again, thank you very much, and the meeting stands adjourned, and goodbye.